in a space that you run or in a space that is initiated in Publica, MAP, which do you think or what principle do you follow? Do you initiate things like a program, or do you wait for the consensus and see what people want, or sort of like the general idea of what you think people want and then do that? Or do you think it's more important to sort of spearhead and lead the way and then let the trend follow?
Well, I think when you actually organize public engagement or social engagement in a space, whether it's private or public, you always need to have a kind of like a strategy. And that strategy could be like, you may initiate, you may curate one or two events as a catalyst. Like MAP in the beginning, we actually did like, we probably curated like an art exhibition, and then the Buy Nothing Day. And then after that, we kind of like got carried away with organizer to get things done. So we are actually, till now, we're completely blown away by the type of people that come and do a lot of crazy stuff. You know, so I think when you try and create like a really truly public access spaces, the less curatorial role you play, the better, because it becomes truly democratic in that sense. So what you do is actually you just provide, the space, you provide an organization that provide like an infrastructure. The infrastructure that you require is like, you have hardware, which is actually the space. And then you have another one, another kind of hardware is enabler. In this case, is the developer who actually pays salary for staff that man the spaces, etc. And then what you need is another kind of infrastructure, which is a software, which is actually a program. The program can be curatorial, but it can also not be curatorial. But what you do is actually provide kind of like a platform or assistance where people can come and actually literally do whatever they want. So the type of event that you see at MAP, even like now, as of the last year, we have not curated one single event. They are actually done by organizer, they're individuals, even private individuals, corporation. So we charge corporation a lot of money so we can subsidize NGO, we can subsidize like certain artists or activists activities. So that's what we kind of do. So when you talk about access, I think it really is, once you create a space, like what the space that she's going to create, it'd be a matter of time when people say, oh, there's a space. Let's think of an idea how to use that space. So almost about 30 to 40% of our activity within the last year or so are actually done by people who are first-timer, who's never organized events before. So I think, I don't worry about content at all, actually, you know. So the thing is that if Ellie wants to do a space like that, she needs to actually cut a deal with authorities. You want to be legit. You cannot squat. Chet says that you cannot squat also, you know. So you gotta like, really work with the authorities. Like what he did, he works with the police and actually negotiate deals with them. I think that's a better way, you know. So and then once you get the space, the first few months will be a bit difficult because then you got to think about how I'm going to fill up the space, how I'm going to create interest, etc. But eventually, the community will come. Hey, can I do wedding there? Yeah, can. Wedding can. Cool, you know. And then can I do my kid's birthday? Then it will become more like kind of like community stuff for kids. I think the key thing in actually creating public spaces is got to be children friendly first. Then it'd be okay. I'm not interested in kind of like creating special places for special people with special talent, like artists or architects or landscape architects and things like that. You know, we don't need that. These people have access. They have access. They have a lot of access to a lot of other spaces. But really, you need to cater for the less than average person. The average person in Malaysia goes to mall, like it or not. They go to mall. They watch TV. Damn, they watch American Idols, you know. So it's people like that, and I think once you start saying, oh well, these people are kind of like maybe not your kind of people, you don't share values with them, and I think that's not important. You gotta work with people that you don't even share values with, you know, and you'll be surprised how easily persuaded you are by people who are different from you, you know. So for example, I'm just saying like at Publica we do public spaces where we we actually give out 100 bicycle a day, free bikes for people to come and bike. And that's because I can't balance on a bicycle, you know, it's selfish, but but as a process, we learned a lot. Like, I mean, we actually invite a lot of communities, and it's really fun. So, and like last week, we had activities like I think it's for bicycle, bikes, and cars, like custom-made stuff. So, and they're quite totally different stuff. I didn't see Setsan, you're not even there, but they make bicycle, which is so amazing, handmade stuff. So, you meet, like I said, you meet a lot of people with like very different interests. I think I talked too much, but
yeah, and I think also that this model being quite new, not like globally or regionally, but because it's quite new in this country where more malls or commercial spaces want to engage community or the masses, that it is a very bold move.
But I think you have to realize that malls are actually community facility now in Malaysia, particularly like in certain countries, malls are just mills. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It has everything. You can do your shopping. You can there's sports facility. You can send your kids to learn stuff. You can do a lot of stuff. I mean, there's karaoke lounges. It's everything. Everything is under a mall. But the only thing is that sometimes it's actually where you provide spaces for public engagement, or whether what kind of like in our case we put an emphasis how important art, culture, and community is, you know. So then you create programming, or rather you allow spaces that can absorb them, you know. I'm for malls. Yeah. I'm not anti-malls.
I do want to ask about like the reception, but before that, I want to ask Seksan and maybe his perspective as another architect. Maybe not karaoke in Lorong Kurau, but what sort of audience are you looking for when you're thinking about rejuvenating the plot of land on Lorong Kurau for the community, giving back to the community? What sort of audience are you targeting?
I think I'm in no disagreement with Nani Kahar at all. I think the community that we want to cater for should be really democratic, especially to people who do not have access, as you say. So common people, people living in the neighbourhood, the older people, the young children. But obviously we are in a very infant stage at the moment, and I really don't know what's going to happen to that particular space. But what I'm really interested to know from Nani is, do you think that shopping centres will automatically become a community village if you don't intervene into it? If you don't intervene into it, like in Publica, where you have a lot of intervention, where you curate, where you initiate, yeah.
Well, not necessary. I think you always have a few people that do catalytic. They do things which are catalysts. You know, so I think like even if you want to create like a urban village or creative village or creative cluster, I think that you don't want to like bring in 172 artists to actually make a difference, you know, because I think what you need is probably a very narrow, a small group of people that can just start poking. So you just need pokers.
So I'm waiting for that to happen in Bangsa Village, for example. Is it going to happen automatically, or do we need to engage people like you?
I think the management need to initiate it, and you can say, "Hello, I can do it. Me and my wife and my kids, we're going to do something there." And if they actually trust you, give you that space, why not? I mean, the thing is that public space is no longer for the public. You almost have to go to a private owned space and actually kind of like persuade, like, tolong, can we do this, can we do that? So it's really about negotiating. And then you can pretend a lot of more pretend their space is public. It's not, you know, you still have to ask permission, you know, like there's still malls you can't go in with your pajamas. So that's terrifying, you know.